Hi everyone, it's Henna here and thanks for coming to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to do a review and tutorial of the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose Palette. So before we get into this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already because I do post new videos here every week. Also give me a follow on Instagram at Thehennaali because I'm always on Instagram if not here on YouTube, and I do beauty, skincare, travel, lifestyle content on there, and I am myself with no Photoshop. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get straight into this video on what we think of the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose Palette and how I achieved this look. Alright guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be doing a live demo, look, swatch of the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose Palette, which is an iron face palette, which is pretty new for Anastasia. Here what it comes in, the unicarton, and as you can see I do have my spooky season nails. So here's what the new Primrose palette looks like. It has almost like a textured, which is definitely a lot nicer than the original. The original one used to get so dirty. So I'm excited to see how this one holds up. Here we have the palette, protector for the shadows. I did go ahead and just like dip my fingers in them, so you might see that a little bit, but you do have shadows right here. And then you have these blush shades, which I'm really interested to see how these would really work for multiple skin tones. I don't think this is a reasonable shade range for that many skin tones. I think this is a very limited palette. Like I don't think everyone could use these blush shades. Like this one looks a little too light. And this one, I'm not really sure. So we're gonna test that out and see, but I'm excited to see because this is definitely new for Anastasia. The formulas are new. The pan sizes are a lot larger for Anastasia. You do have a mirror. This one, I left the frosted on it. That's what we're working with. So let's go ahead and put it on the eyes. All right, so I went ahead and zoomed you guys in a little closer. Again, here is what the palette looks like. Creating a look, I'm gonna use, just for reference, I may forget to say the brush names. I'm using all the brushes from the Morphe x Ariel collab. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into the shade Honey, just to use that as an all over base shadow. And I just did a little tap. There is a little bit of fallout, as you can see right there. There is a little bit of fallout there, but fallout doesn't bother me as long as the shadow performs well. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just apply the shade Honey. It's like an all over eyeshadow, and I did apply the Makeup by Mario eye primer, and I always use that primer. So there is a pretty good wash of color there, as you can see. Really pretty. I want to do more of an orange look, so I'm actually going to use this shade right here in my eyes. That's the shade Saddle. That's supposed to be the second blush shade, but I'm going to use that on the eyes. That's very pretty. So seeing it on the eyes and as a blush shade, I can't really speak for anyone that is deeper in skin tone than me, but I can see this working for my complexion. Mind you, I am an end C37 in matte. Honestly, I'm gonna take one more matte shade, and it's this one right here. And this is in the shade Rogue. And I'm just gonna apply that on the outer corners just to add a little bit of dimension there. Ooh, that's really pretty. Okay, so out of all of these metallic foil shadows, I really want to take Fire Opal. When applying this to the finger, it does feel a little extra gritty compared to their previous metallic foil formula, which is pretty interesting. So it does have a lot of fallout. When the texture is like that, you will see a lot of fallout. So in that case, I would really recommend using that type of shadow, like doing your eyeshadow first and then your foundation. But I'm gonna take this really dense brush and see if I can oh yeah, see, like it picks up on here, and I'm just gonna apply it with the brush ever so lightly. Make sure I don't get too much fallout. Yeah, it applies really nicely with the brush. You could definitely use your finger as well, but I feel like with the brush I can definitely get a lot more precision of where I'm applying the shadow. But you definitely want to use a more dense brush to apply this formula. Fallout, but that's a very Fire Opal is very pretty. Okay, so I do want to go in with one more. I want to go in with a sparkling amber shade, and I want to just apply that over right in the center. And again, this shade is also pretty gritty, and I can just tell, if you can see that right there, like definitely just picking up the shadow. It definitely has more of a gritty formula, which I'm really surprised by, because I feel like Anastasia's original metallic shades were very, very beautiful on their own. It still looks pretty, but it's definitely a lot more messier. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take that Rogue shade, just apply it to the lower lash. I'm gonna go in with Honey and Mango, blend out the edges. Wow, I went with the wrong brush. I'm gonna add one more shade in there, just like to the inner corners, and I'm gonna take this shade Rose Water. It just looks like a really pretty icy. I'm just gonna take Rose Water and apply it to the inner corner. Ooh, that's so pretty. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish my eyes, apply some mascara, lips, and then we'll get to the blush part of this look. All right, guys, I went ahead and completed the look off camera. I added some lashes, which, by the way, I haven't worn lashes in so long, like normal ones. I usually wear the magnetic ones. So if they're like popping up a little bit, I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to take it how it is. But I wanna go ahead and apply the blush. So it's between Grapefruit and Saddle. All right, I'm gonna take Grapefruit right here, and just to see what Grapefruit, oh wow, it picks up pretty dark compared to what's in the palette. So let's see. Do you see this? Let's do it on the other side, hold on. That's actually a gorgeous shade. Okay, so I will say the blush is a lot lighter in the pan than it is when you apply it on the skin. I would then recommend definitely checking it out when you go into Sephora or wherever they sell ABH, trying it out in person. I know with COVID, I don't know if you're doing that, but even like if you like just swatch it on the back of your hand to kind of get an idea, because it is a lot more opaque on the skin. Like it's not as light. The shade right here, Rose Water. So I want to see if I can apply that as a highlight. I'm going in with a very light hand because I'm just scared of it being too... Alright guys, so this is a complete look using the new Anastasia Primrose eyes and face palette, or is it just an eyeshadow palette? I'm just going to say the Primrose palette. It's definitely a very pretty look. I definitely wanted to keep it in theme with the very orange, burnt orange look for fall. So I like it. I will say, overall, it's a good palette with the shades I use. I can definitely see this being a really, really nice palette to use every day or just very glam. But it definitely is geared towards a certain makeup user to wear into these shades. It's definitely very like pinky, purple, orange. That's really all you're gonna get out of this palette. So if you're really into these like gold, champagne, rose gold, pink looks, this is a great palette for you. If you want more neutral tones, you're definitely gonna get a more warmer look from this palette. You're not gonna get a cool tone neutral look. You're always gonna kind of get that warmer tone shadows from this palette. So if you're looking for more neutral, cool tone, this is not the palette for you. I would definitely check out the Soft Glam palette. I have two cons. I mean, they're not really cons. I would say it's just something to really think about if you're thinking about getting this palette, is the metallic shades are pretty gritty. So you will get a lot of fallout from it if, you know, you go in with the finger like really like rough. You can use a dense brush and just like lightly tap on the product. Or of course, going with your finger, that's always great too. But I would recommend maybe doing this before your foundation to make sure you don't get crazy fallout, because I feel like with this shadows you will, at least with these metallic shades you will. The matte shadows do have a little bit of kickback, but they blend out beautifully, which ABH matte shadows generally do. But yeah, another thing I wanted to just mention is I don't think everyone could use this palette if you're looking to get it for the blushes. I will say the blushes are a lot lighter in the pan than they actually are on your, you know, your complexion. So those are the two things about this palette that I think you should think about if you're thinking of getting it. That might be a con for you. I definitely think this is a great travel palette. I also will mention that these two shades can be really interused in your eyeshadow as well. It's basically the same, pretty much feels like the same formula as the eyeshadows, but it's just in a blush pan. So I really don't have much else to say about this palette. It's a beautiful look that I created. The blush looks very pretty, and that's in the shade Grapefruit. So overall, I love how it turned out. I think this retails for $52 or $56. I'm not 100% sure. So if you already have a palette similar to this, you won't need it. This is kind of one of those palettes where it's more like if you want more of a travel friendly palette where it has everything in one, maybe that's why you want this, or you're just a really big fan of ABH and you love ABH, so you might want to add this to your collection. But do I think this is like the best palette ever? It's okay. I mean, again, you can really only achieve warm looks with this palette. I really love it though. I think this look came out great. I love the blush shade in this. It's really pretty. So I'm gonna keep using this palette. I love using different palettes every time I wear makeup now, because before I used to always use the same one, but I'm trying to be better about trying a new palette and using a different one each time. So I'm excited to add this to my makeup. But alright guys, before I go, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I do post new videos here every week. Also, give me a follow on Instagram at Thehennaali, because I'm always on Instagram, if not here on YouTube. I do a lot of beauty, skincare, lifestyle, and travel content on there, aside from everything here on YouTube. You can also follow me on TikTok at Thehennaali. I'm trying to get really good on TikTok too, so check me out in there as well. But alright guys, I'll see you in the next video.